Sabran Tumelang Mulweni, Abu Shani de Macharoni, Salam Alaikum Namaste, Kude Khuirach, Awe Maskandar. My name is Winston and welcome back to my channel Bushies Vadbur. On this channel we discuss everything relating to small scale farming and those small projects that you can do yourself, save on some money and enjoy the fruit of your labor. And in today's video, I would like to show you how we grow lots of tomatoes and not lots of leaves. So stay tuned. So without further ado, let me show you that this is one plant growing up over here, and here we have a batch of tomatoes, there we have a batch of tomatoes, and right over here we have still flowers, three clusters of flowers, and here on this tip, okay, no, that's another plant, it's not this plant. Here we have two clusters of flowers, and there's another cluster that is most probably gonna form more tomatoes. So I want to show you that you don't really have to have bushy trees like this or bushy plants like this. I left these plants over here because the birds are eating my tomatoes. Here was a tomato, here was a whole cluster here, right over here, a whole cluster of tomatoes, and this is the only tomato that's left of the cluster. And I'm actually trying to you guys know the video that I showed you how to harvest tomatoes and how to cure and how to store them. I'm actually trying to get them ripen on the plant instead of ripening them inside, but you can see that the birds are eating my tomatoes. So I'm going to show you exactly how to grow lots of tomatoes like these and rather like these, and also to care for your plants. Now before I get there, I want to show you, I hope you can see, because the sun is like, okay, let me see, right. I hope you can see from this side. So right over here, this small cluster, we got like five plants over this cluster over here. Right over there, that whole bunch of flowers there, or plants that you see there, those are cherry tomatoes, the small tomatoes. And right over here we have the normal tomatoes, and you can see they are nice and big. You can see these are big tomatoes, and the cherry tomatoes are those small tomatoes that I showed you. So and the noticeable difference is that the bigger tomatoes, the plant stays shorter compared to the cherry tomatoes, where the plant just keeps growing and growing and growing and producing lots of small fruit. So the first thing that you would like to do is, as the plant grows from the bottom, as the plant grows, you want to support it, because this stem is actually very weak. So the weight of the tomatoes will pull the plant to one side. I actually have I kept this one out here because it actually hooks over here, but you can see that the other plant is very thin, and if I don't hook it, then the weight of the tomatoes will just make it fall over, and then you will get ants and insects eating your tomatoes. So that's the first thing that you need to do: guide your plant so it can grow upwards, and so it doesn't fall over, and it is prone to get diseases or even rot when it's growing on the floor. That's point number one. Point number two: as your plant grows, you will see they will form flowers like these. Now these flowers are telling you, listen, I'm ready to make tomatoes. And what you want to do is, because remember the video that I showed you how to identify a female versus a male flower? Well, on a tomato plant, this flower is both male and female, where the pollen is in the inside of these one. Wait, it goes closer. There you go. Where the pollen is on the inside, and it needs to fall onto the top or it needs to be transferred to the tip of this plant in order, this flower, in order to produce that tomato, or in order to form that tomato. So what you want to do is you just want to come, and as you identify your as you see this flowers open up like this, you just want to come and tap it like this. Just tap it. So you want to come and give your plant some attention. Just tap it on the top, like here. Just tap it on the top, and you will see that it will start forming tomatoes like these. All right, so you want to already start, this one is already starting to close, and it's going to form, I think there, yeah, there you go. It's already starting to close, so it will form a tomato because we've already tapped it. But once it's open like this, open like showing off, you want to just tap it so the pollen can get to the tip of that flower, and it will produce, you kind of like almost guaranteeing that there will be a pollination for the flower, or for the tomato to grow. Third tip, I'm not going to go into this. You will notice the video that I did about the diseases. You'll start seeing your leaves doing this. I'll say septoria leaf something. This is a disease that starts with the lower leaves. So you would want to see, as you identify these leaves, you want to take it off. I already showed you in that video how to do it. And as you go up and up and up cleaning the tomatoes, I actually left this one so you can see what it looks like, and I actually want to show you what it does if you leave that leaves. It carries over to the fruit, and this is what happens where you lose fruit. So these ones we will definitely not be able to eat. Let me just focus on it. I hope it focuses. There you go. So all that because the plant is sending all its nutrients to the leaves in order to heal the plant, instead of all the nutrients going to the tomatoes, and then it leaves the tomatoes looking like this. And then of course the problem with now pruning the tomato plants, getting rid of the tomatoes, getting rid of the leaves, you are exposing your fruit to outside elements like birds that are coming and eating my tomatoes. You can already see that they come and sit over here and they start pecking on my tomatoes. So the best thing to do now is the video I showed you, that video on you wait for it to start blushing. Like, okay, these big tomatoes are all still not ripe or ready yet, but you wait for it to blush, like these ones over here, you'll see there. You wait for it to blush, and then you can take that off, and then you can ripen it inside, and you will have nice tomatoes like this one over here. I need to take this off because the others were red. I wanted to keep them, but the birds came and ate all these tomatoes that were here. So I'm gonna harvest these ones. And I saw another cluster on the other side that was also starting to ripen. Oh, there's evidence that something is eating our ripe tomatoes there, as you can see there. As I saw a couple of ripe tomatoes over here, and something is eating it. So you want to harvest them as soon as it blushes, and then you ripen it further from inside your house. So guys, those are my tips just to help you. And this over here, this is blight. You can get rid of this tomato. Where's my shears? Let me just get rid of this one here. We will not be able to use this one because this is blight. This is also one of the diseases that you get when you grow tomatoes, that you just have to get used to. So as you can see that we grow lots of tomatoes. I left this one over here because this plant is falling over, because this thing over here is not so secure anymore. But all you have to do is, I need to literally, can you guys, I hope you guys can see, I literally need to take off this one over here, and then take that off, and then you can see that this is like this branch over here is dry. So you want to take this off so all the nutrients can go over to the tomatoes itself. And then there's one tip that is very controversial. This is something that I've seen from most of the tomato videos that I've watched, is that the guys will say that there's something called a sucker. Now a sucker, think of it as an upside down armpit where you have the main stem going up here, and then giving you another branch, but the main stem continues this way, and then there's something growing from out of the armpit, and you will notice that this is the sucker by a cluster of flowers just growing just above the sucker. So what the guys will say is take off this sucker, because this one will take all the nutrients to this branch to continue the branch instead of going to this cluster here to form tomatoes. Now where it gets controversial is that I think that you can notice here, if I stand this side, you will notice that this is the main stem over here, and it gave me a branch where the main stem continued, which means this was the sucker. But the sucker produced another cluster of flowers that is going to produce some more tomatoes. So I'm just thinking that by removing the suckers, you are actually prohibiting the plant from growing more main stems or secondary stems that will produce more clusters or flowers, which will give you more fruit. And that's where I find it to be very controversial. So you can actually make up your mind. Are you going to remove the suckers, or are you going to keep the suckers? So guys, that's just my tips for growing lots of tomatoes. You can see my cherry tomatoes over here. There's more cherry tomatoes growing over there. There's some more growing. I can show you a little bit more. Let me just try and zoom in there. I hope you can see that right over there. And then over here, if I turn around, let me just zoom out. There you get nice and big tomatoes over there. Nice and big tomatoes. You see all my plants are growing. I actually love this plant over here because this is one plant that has so many tomatoes growing over there. There's more tomatoes growing over there, and there's a whole lot more tomatoes, and it's still growing some more flowers and more tomatoes. So we're gonna have tomatoes for a long time. So guys, that's just my tips for growing tomatoes. I'm still here by this plant. You know, if you find it useful, if you find it if you like the video that I shared or the content of this video, please give me the thumbs up. If you don't agree, give me the thumbs down. If you have any questions, suggestions, if you have your own comments or your suggestions, leave them in the comment section down below so everybody can learn from it. But this is just my way of growing tomatoes. You know, the old people once said, or always used to say, that you need to talk to your flowers, you need to spend time with your flowers, you need to love your flowers or your plants, so that you can get the most out of them, or they can give you the most that you would expect from them, or they can produce a lot more for you. So this is just my way of spending time with it. I'm out here to harvest some tomatoes, the ones that are blushing, so I can take them inside, because we are losing a lot of them because of the animals that are eating it. I'm almost sure it's birds, because whenever I come around here, there are birds flying away, and it might just be some rats roaming around here. It can be anything, but I'm just here to come and harvest a little bit of tomatoes. So please remember to subscribe, share the video to everyone you need them to know about tomatoes or learn more about tomatoes. But that's it from me for now. Until next time, keep well, stay safe, stay blessed. Away.